What is up, everyone? It's DV, and today we've got to celebrate the first year anniversary of Islands. So Islands was created on April 8th, actually. Granted, just because a project's date is actually listed on Roblox doesn't really mean that's the date, right? But this is the anniversary week for Islands. So in this video, we're going to go through every single update in Islands, just kind of looking back at the last year in Islands, all the different updates that we got, and all the hard work the devs actually put into the game. We'll make fun of a few things, of course, like oily crops and stuff that people really raged about. But we're going to focus on the good. And before we jump into that, make sure you go talk to Talia. You can see if you click on that, she says, it's Islands anniversary week, 1 year of Islands. I can't believe it. She says, Lucy and I baked an anniversary cake to celebrate. I hope you like it. So we take that gift and she says, enjoy. And then she disappears. So that is how you get these little birthday cakes. These are pretty cool. So make sure you get your birthday cake. There's only one time we're going to have this week and this is it. So let's go and jump into this. But before I begin, if you could do me a huge favor and hit that like button if you love Islands and especially to celebrate this event, and subscribe if you haven't already. So huge shout out to the Islands team for making this game. Honestly, before I started playing this game, I want to look back a little bit. So I discovered Islands through a friend of mine, Untie. I've almost been playing this game every day for a year, almost a year here. So we're coming up, I think, like maybe a couple more weeks and it'll be a year for me. Before this game, I was actually playing Bee Swarm Simulator a ton because the Beesmas event was going on and I was just grinding it like crazy and I didn't really have much else to play. I was playing Arsenal, I was playing some Dungeon Quest prior to that, and I was playing some tower defense games. I was pretty much playing everything at the time, and this game came around. I was like, oh my gosh, finally a game to check out, because it was a little confusing at first, right? So the game was like really confusing. I thought it was just another Booga Booga, and then I realized it was kind of leaning a little bit more towards a Minecraft feel, and that we could actually build these crazy cool islands, because the starter island didn't really tell you that you could actually do much, right? I thought the starter island was just like kind of like a Bed Wars or something, and I was just like, this is not my kind of, cup of tea. And then of course, I started realizing you could actually make really cool bases and stuff. So that was kind of where I started my love for this game. So their very first update came out on April 23rd, and they had a new starter island design. They increased the player limit to 30, and then they also added mobile support. I guess the game didn't have mobile. And then they added the ability to smelt clay into bricks, probably through the furnace. And this is before my time. And then they added VIP servers, which was sweet. So that was their first game update. So their second update was about the time I started playing, and it looks like it came out on April 27th. And they added the VIP rank, which is this right here. So they added this. They added the ability to do stairs. They added tomato seeds. They added pine fences, auto saving, so before I guess the data wouldn't save automatically. And then they did a couple UI enhancements, and they did some economy balancing. Then come May 2nd, they actually did factory block, and so they added Slime Island. They made it so you could eat food to regain health. They added coin bags for trading, and they also added chess combat with swords, and they added also like smelters, ovens, and more. So factory, it was the factory update, and I remember that I think they called it the industrial update. I don't think it was called the factory update. I think they called it industrial at the time, but that's when they also added ovens and stuff. And I just remember being super excited about this update. It was so cool to be able to actually smelt stuff automatically, especially automatically, and the conveyors were rad. I was like, oh my gosh, we got conveyors. And then come May 4th was another update. They just kept busting out updates. They had like update after update. It was like 2 days later, they had the floral bench. They added crop totems, to be able to, auto farm. So basically totems started being able to be connected to conveyors so we could actually auto harvest from our island. It was cool. And then they added the ability to sell slime balls to the adventurer. And then they added a starter pack here, which is to the shop. I don't know if we still have, I don't think the starter pack's still in here. I think they removed the starter pack, but there used to be a starter pack where you can get some stuff, and it wasn't very good, to be honest. I didn't see any appeal to it because most of the stuff in there was like you could get really easily. And then they also added the floral bench here as a part of that. So this was like their very first game pass. Besides the rank passes, this was the first one, which is the floral bench, and you can get, the whole flower pot thing. A lot of people were excited about that. I wasn't really into flowers, but a lot of people were digging it. I think I bought it later. I know I own it. Yeah. So I think I bought it later just to own it. And then 2 days later, so they were giving us updates like every 2 days. So 2 days later, they gave another update, and they added new block textures, new rock models. They made it so that you can click and hold to place seeds. They added new stairs for bricks and stones. They improved island and inventory saving. They patched a bunch of exploits and stuff. It was just really more about making sure inventories weren't getting reset. I guess a lot of people were getting resets and stuff, and so they fixed that. Another 4 days later, they added another update, and they were just going crazy. So they added another update. They added grapes. They added birch and maple trees. They added doors. They added the ability to sell crafted food to the baker. They added pizza, tomato soup, jellies. They increased the max block limit from 27,000 to 50,000. And I actually met SnickTrix around, I think the 6th of May is when I actually had some issues. So I met SnickTrix, the developer. I followed him on Twitter because basically what happened is I made the tallest tower, and I had an issue where I actually built the tallest tower in Islands. I just kept building over and over and over, basically the Skyblock back then, and I kept building as tall as I could. And I remember this clear as day, because the next time I logged in, I couldn't actually load the game. I could hear the game, I could hear footsteps, I could hear everything, but I had a black screen, so I had to reach out to SnickTrix, and I found his Twitter, and then I contacted him, and we became friends on Discord. And man, and that was like May 6th of last year, and so I couldn't load the game, and so he kept trying to troubleshoot it. If I remember, there was just like a weird loading screen glitch, and back then you could actually build as tall as you wanted, and then they actually restricted it so you could only, you know, build, I think it was like 667 by 667 blocks. So I had like an area of my tower I couldn't even reach anymore, so I couldn't even destroy that part of the tower for a long time. It was really funny. So again, on the 14th, again 4 days later, they're on this like 4-day update cadence. They're on fire. They just keep adding stuff. They added sprinting on mobile. They added a bunch of stuff for mobile players, like fixing chests, opening doors, and it was mostly honestly like an inventory and kind of optimization update. Then on the 16th of May, they actually added Bedrock to starter islands. That's why I had like a really early island, but they added Bedrock on the 16th. And then on the 17th, a day later, kid you not, day later, they did a Buffalo Core mob island. So that is when the Buffalo Core came out, and I just remember this being such a big deal on my streams. I remember this being such a big deal on my, I think I was still streaming on Twitch, and I was so excited that we had gold ore, we had an iron war axe, we had a gilded steel. So gilded steel was like really cool. I was like so excited about gilded steel. And then they added like gilded steel tools. They added the lighting station game pass, which I was super stoked about. They added coal, iron, and gold blocks. They added glass blocks. They added the industrial stone cutter. They added carrot cakes. They added flower pots. So that is when they also added crystallized iron and Buffalo Core crystals. So I remember I was like freaking out because I was like, dude, these crystallized iron, and I remember spending like 6 hours grinding for these crystals. It was crazy. It was so hard to get. And then on the 26th, they added potatoes. They added carpet. It just feels like yesterday they did a bunch of these, but they added mossy stone bricks. They added brick slabs. They added carpet. They improved combat. They also were still working on Xbox at this point. So they were still working on getting the Xbox update out. Then finally on the 31st, like they were busting out updates every couple days on islands in May, and everyone kept begging for trading, right? So they brought out the vending machine on the 31st. They added merchant quests. They added blueprints, and then they took a little bit longer for bigger updates. And so they came out with fishing. They came out with watering crops. They came out with sprinklers, fertilizer, the pro rank. So the pro rank pass was huge. Now, pro rank didn't actually give you publishing ability. That came later. So back then, all we got for pro rank was really a portal. We got fishing and a name tag. It wasn't really anything special. Publishing islands came a little bit later. I'm going to get to that in a bit. And then they added conveyor belts to make crops oily. And that was kind of a big blow up. So that is when there was a huge blow up on their Discord. Everyone was rioting. Everyone was making petitions to revert the update. They really hated the introduction of washing. And I was kind of like on the fence about it because I didn't really like it either because it broke a lot of my designs. A lot of my videos were pretty much out of date already from that. And a lot of people are just like, man, this is not fun. But I actually liked it because, you know, it gave us something new to build around, right? So I now had something new to build. It was really fun for content wise. It was actually a great challenge. It was like a new puzzle for me to solve. And so I liked it, but I also didn't a little bit because it was a little confusing because they added all these other water things. They added like the water storage barrel. They added like a water catcher. They added the composter. And so there were a lot of things that, you know, I didn't really care for. You know, with the washing station, I just made it fun and we did some new builds. I solved the auto farms for everyone. I kind of explained how to use them and it went pretty well. And then on June 23rd, Brian actually did his first update. I think SnickTrix was taking like the week off or something like that. So Brian actually did a furniture update. So he added beach furniture. They improved pro luck with fishing. They added the grouper and trout fish. And they also increased like vending storage, which is huge. I think back then we could only like fit, wasn't like 30 or 50 items. It was not a lot. And now it's at like 300s. And then if you remember back then, we had a nightmare. If our island was too big, we couldn't even join the server. Remember, we'd like try to load and then be like, nope, your island's too big. And then you get kicked. So they actually made it a little bit easier for larger islands to join public servers. And we don't even get that now. So thankfully we don't get kicked anymore if our island's huge. And then on June 26th, they added fruit trees. They made it so that people would actually spawn, like any starter islands would actually have a native fruit spawn on their island. And, you know, they also added an auto food processor, which was really nice. The food processor basically replaced the legacy. And that's where we got the legacy. And a lot of people were trying to get the legacy. If you remember, they actually had to like infinite loop their body. And back then you would die when you would actually fall. So nowadays you jump off and you teleport. Back then you would die over and over and over. And so people were getting these legacy food processors by dying into the void like 1,000 times or leaving it overnight auto. And at times if they like did it enough, their account would get reset or something like that. And they would end up with a food processor. I don't know if that was just always myth. I feel like that was kind of a prank. And I think they got it from hacking. Pretty sure they were just trolling people to make them oof over and over and over. And then they added this pro portal on the 26th. So that's when we got this awesome thing. And I actually think they should come out with new ones. They also added crystallized gold as a part of that update, which was kind of underwhelming because all you could use the crystallized gold for was the food processor, and I still think the crystallized gold needs some more uses. But it was really cool to actually have something new to we could basically run around and farm. So a lot of us were just running around farming gold all over and over and over. And then on July 4th, Independence Day, they actually made VIP servers free, so that was huge. That was a huge thank you. And they actually renamed, around that time, the game was called Skyblocks because they had some issues with the name Skyblock. And so they had actually renamed the game to Skyblock, which was a big pain. I just remember having to go through all my old videos of Skyblock and having to retag everything to Skyblocks. So they actually added, at this point, they added the day-night cycle that is awesome and also something I really dislike. I love and hate it because when I'm recording, when everything goes dark, I got to put lights out so otherwise you can't see me. And then they added torches, which was also a big bummer because all my test torches that I spent so much money on, I think I had spent between 100 million to 200 million on a ton of test torches because they were worth a lot, and they all got converted to torches, these worthless little coal things. These things are worthless. And they also made it so that trees would also drop wood blocks, so before they wouldn't, and so they actually made it so that trees would actually drop those. And then they added the fireworks game pass as part of that for 4th of July. That is when we got this thing here, right there. And then a week later on July 7th, they actually came out with the bamboo update and aquamarines. And I remember we were just freaking out because it was supposed to be called Prismarine, and in fact, they still call it Prismarine in some places. Check this out. So if you remember, it used to be called Prismarine. There's one block here that's still called Prismarine. If you go over here to the stairs, they still call it Prismarine Stair. So it's a little bit of a little hint that it used to be called Prismarine before it turned into Aquamarine. And they also added the sea lantern. They added coral and seagrass blocks, if you remember those. Those were kind of a nightmare because they were worthless. They're not used for anything. Then they also added the input-output chest, which was huge. They added the iron door that's basically owner access, so you have to have build access. And then they also added like the ability to hold F for harvesting crops. They improved wood planks. They also made it so that Slime Island no longer required the key. So you remember that is when the Slime Island key went limited, and everyone was trying to sell those for like 100,000 plus. It was so funny. They were trying to sell something that was worth basically 200 coins for like hundreds of thousands of coins, and it eventually settled at 50,000 coins. I was actually surprised I was able to buy and sell those, at around that range and making a good profit off island keys, but they were never really high in demand because there were so many people with them still. And then they also added a fishing lake on Slime Island. So a lot of updates. That is just July alone. Shortly after that update, by the way, I think it was like the 13th, it was like the 12th or 13th, Islands actually got removed from Roblox. It got content deleted. I was so mad. And it was unfortunate because right before that, they actually renamed the game to Islands. So they had renamed from Skyblocks to Islands. And then the next day, they basically posted this announcement that says, after discussion with Roblox regarding a DMCA request, we've been forced to change our name to Islands. Keeping our old name could lead to our game being shut down for a few weeks. Our top priority is staying online. Thanks for your continued support. So I guess Skyblocks was maybe trademarked or something like that. I don't know. And then the next day, they said Roblox just shut down the game. We're working our hardest to get everything back online. Your progress will not be lost. And then on the 15th, the next day, it says your overwhelming support has been incredible. Sadly, we've seen a lot of speculation towards people we admire, and so a lot of people were saying that Microsoft sued them or Hypixel sued them. And they're they listed all basically the contractor names and developer names, and it was really kind of disturbing that everyone was digging into this drama, and it went across the internet. Like all of Roblox was freaking out about this, and thankfully the next day after that, they said we will be returning to Roblox tomorrow. Our goal is to go live at 11 a.m. So it was basically like a 3 to 4 day shutdown. And at the time, I was like, well, what do I do? As a YouTuber, my game that I've been doing videos on for every day is gone. And I was just like freaking out inside, like thinking, man, I'm going to have to what do I do? And so at that time, I actually did a Skyblock video for Minecraft, and I actually had a lot of fun. And that's why I'm actually going to be going back to some Minecraft videos pretty soon, especially in a week like today. They're actually taking the week, to do another update. So we're not getting an update for 2 weeks because they just put out that big update. So because of that, the next update's in a week. So I'm going to run out of content pretty soon for Islands, and I have to come up with like crazy ideas, and it's just a lot of work. So I'm actually going to be doing some Minecraft videos pretty soon, as well as some Stranded videos. So stay tuned for those. Coming back, the game returned with Wizard Island, and I was so excited because I knew that they were working on something really cool like this. So I was actually really excited about seeing Wizard Island. So they brought out wizard lizards, and they brought the spell book out, the mushrooms. They had the ability to get new flowers. So they had the daffodil and crocus, and then they added a new tutorial for players. So they were actually really still working on the game, thankfully, while it was down. And then not long after that, on the 25th, they added a new secret blueprint, which was the title spellbook. I was so excited about that. Then they also added crystallized aquamarine, which was also part of the recipe for the title. And then they added like the gravel block, they added a grass block, so that was a great one. And then on the second, they started playing around with a little bit like more platform kind of stuff. So on the second, and that is when Published Islands came out, and I thought this was actually a really genius update. I was stoked about this update. They told me about this before it came out, and I saw it, and I was like, oh my gosh, that is genius. So they were really excited about this, feature that they were adding. So they made it so you could basically publish your island and have up to 50 players at the time. They didn't have 60 at the time, it was 50 players. And they made this whole like list, right? And I was so excited about this as soon as I saw it. We can actually publish like obbies now. We can actually make it so people can join us so much easier, because of the issue back then was we were on like little VIP servers and public servers and like these tiny little silos, right? You couldn't even fit 50 players on an island because the performance choked. And the cool thing about the published islands was no one loaded their islands other than the published island. So whenever you jump on there, you didn't have to load all your blocks. It was only their blocks that you had to load. I thought it was genius. I thought it, I still think it's genius. I think it's a, crazy cool feature. And I actually think, they should continue to do platforms like this, like platform like ideas, like an auction house would be cool. There should be like a lot more like this. Even the ability to trade between people across the entire server. And then as part of that update, they also brought out the jukebox. They also have this thing here that's still coming, and you can see it says coming soon island stats dashboard. I just actually pinged them literally while I was recording. I was like, hey, coming soon TM. So maybe they're gonna actually come back to this. I actually think they should still do this because island stats would be so much fun. I don't know that we really need this. That's probably why they haven't prioritized it, but it would be actually pretty cool to see like how many people have actually visited you, maybe how many blocks you have on your island. They already have that data. There's some basic stuff they can put here. It would actually be kind of cool. Maybe they'll redesign that screen later. Now that I brought it up, they'll be like, oh yeah, let's get rid of that screen. But then they actually also added the hickory tree, and then they added the ability to kick. And this was like my little request. I was like, please, my wish list item, please make it so we can actually kick players from our private servers. And a lot of people don't realize they can still do this. If you're on a VIP server, you can type /kick and then whatever the player name is. So DB was taken, I wonder if it could actually work on yourself. Oh, it does. So you can kick yourself still. Rip. And then on August 9th, we got the Desert Island, and that was like the first island we've gotten in a long time. And so it was actually really cool. We had this new Scorp mob. We had the new bows. A lot of people were wanting the bows for a while. And then Red Sandstone, and then Dead Bush. And then on the 16th of August, they actually added another game pass. And a lot of people were bummed about this. I actually loved it because that is when we just got the ability to teleport. So I was like, wait a second, what is this? And so while everyone else was looking at obbies, I was looking at teleports. So that is when we got the obby kit. And then they added the music discs for green, orange, and purple at that point. The actual biggest thing we took from that though was they added signs. So as part of the obby update, we were so happy about signs because I remember my island that I actually had with these, and I just put signs everywhere. I was so happy. So we got signs as part of that update on August 16th. And then for a while, I remember they took like a couple weeks off, and I remember them telling me we're working on animals. Like that's why we're taking the week off. And I was like, oh my gosh, animals. So then they came out with the bee update, which was like basically a test run for their animals. So they were trying to work on animal code, and then they basically added bees as part of their animal AI, and so we could get honey and stuff. But it was pretty cool that they actually worked on AI for animals. And then a week later, they actually brought in fireflies, and I remember the update note said rare chance for a rainbow firefly event or something like that, and everyone was freaking out. Where's the rainbow firefly? And everyone was getting scanned because people were trying to sell rainbow fireflies and they weren't real. And then I asked SnickTrix, is there actually a rainbow firefly? And he's like, no, it's just an event. A rainbow event basically means all firefly colors came out at the same night. So that would mean red, blue, and green would all be around that night, and it was a global event, so all servers would actually experience that. And so I was like, oh my gosh, there's no such thing as a rainbow firefly. But a lot of people are still posting how to get the rainbow firefly, and I was like, dude, no, there's no such thing. There's no such thing as a rainbow firefly. I remember that update so well. And then they added the display cases so you could show off your fireflies as well as bees. And then they added some firefly lights. And then on September 18th, we got factory update 1.0. So this is 1 out of 2. So it was like the first half of the factory update. And man, this was a huge update. Everyone was excited because everyone was bummed for a long time. For months and months, we didn't really get any new factories. And so they added these resource islands, these little guys. That is when they actually added these. And so you could actually get them. They started with just copper, so it didn't actually have gold for a while. They added gold later. But as part of this, we had like the steel mill, we got the drill, we got the steel press, we got steel, we got copper press, we got, gearboxes, we got molds, we got so many great things. And then we got like the weapon stand, we got fish tanks. They also nerfed the berries because berries were so OP. I was making like 5 million a night. It was so OP. And then they added the mechanic merchant so they could actually, you could sell gearboxes to them. And then on October 3rd, they actually added cows. I was so excited about the cows because we finally had animals. So as part of that, they also added the gold deposit. So that then we basically got a gold resource island, which was cool because everyone was begging for gold totems for so long. They're like, well, you want gold totems, we'll give you gold on your own island, but you got to use our drill. And what that did was it prevented people from like buying too many totems and just getting way too much gold on their island. So it really controlled the, the rare resource feed there. Otherwise, someone would just make gold worthless. If you had like gold totems, gold would be worthless because someone would just buy like 1,000 of those or something. And then they also added the Rage Blade, which was a weapon blueprint drop from the Buffalo Cores. They also added the Cheesemaker. They added red bronze ingots that you can make from the red bronze refinery. So they added the refinery. And then they added like the animal well-being kits and a bunch of stuff for animals, including the ability to milk and stuff, and make cheese from that. And then came the witch update. So this was so cool. I kept bugging them over and over. I was like, please give us like some boss or some kind of like limited event or limited items. I wanted limited items in this game. And my dream came true with the witch update. And I did not expect this. It was really cool. But HBO basically did a sponsored or kind of partnership with them. We got the witch update, and that is when we got the Grand High Witch. They also added the Formula 86 splash potion, which we still have today, and people are just throwing like they can keep making them or something. And then they added the witch trophy. If you beat the witch, then you could get this really cool witch trophy. They added like also like 4 temporary hostile mobs. I still think they need to bring these mobs back. I miss the skeleton. I miss the armored skeleton. They just need to make like a skeleton island. There's no reason we shouldn't be able to get skeletons back. We need a really cool haunted island that should just stay around. Like give us like a really cool like skeleton boss or something like that. I don't see why we couldn't get that. That would actually be a really cool island. And then they added like chocolate and candy and stuff. It was a really fun event. The island was crazy cool looking. And I think that's when they started bringing on like these really awesome artists like AsenDev and Candlezoo. Like they brought in a lot of great artists. And that is when the game started kind of like making a comeback because the game was starting to kind of die around summertime, like September, October. The game was starting to like decline. And I was getting a little worried, obviously, like is the game that I'm making videos on daily dying? And then I saw the little surge come back. As soon as the Halloween update came out, I was like, oh, that's cool. They also came out with pumpkins. I remember the pumpkin seeds coming out. And then on November 1st, of course, they added colored blocks. So this is when we got all of our colored clay block with flowers. So they brought out flower breeding. And so this was like kind of their take on the color approach, which I really like. They also added a new castle hub, and man, we got this beautiful hub now. And so this hub here, this castle came out on November 1st, and the new hub, it was fully redesigned. It didn't really look like this. They kind of continued to like update it. This barn looked different, but this stuff wasn't here. A lot of this stuff wasn't here, but we did have the castle. They also did a server revamp at the same time, which made it so that each island now has their own server, right? So that was important for them to be able to get to. They're still working it up to it, but they want to get up to 150,000 blocks on each island. They were at 50,000 at the time. I think they bumped it up since then. I think we're at like what 80,000 or 100,000. I think we're like close to 80,000 now or so. I can't remember what the current block limit is. They also added double doors. They also added upside down stairs. Everyone had been, asking for that. They also added rotation. Everyone had been asking for that. And then they also gave us these join codes, which was kind of a cool feature. Unfortunately, it's annoying at times, but it was a better solution for, a lot of the issues we've been having with being able to have friends join us, especially if you're on mobile or something, being able to join off mobile versus not mobile. And then November 6th came around and they increased the build limit from 50,000 to 70,000. They added the randomizer block, conveyor block. We've been asking for that for so long, so they added that. And then we got the nomad that just, kind of appeared in the desert island. We didn't know what was going on with that. He didn't really do anything at the time, and then they just kind of improved some limits. They also removed the 50 billion coin limit, which was a big mistake because that's when everything went south for the game. This is when dupers went crazy. So as soon as they removed the 50 billion limit, everyone was trying to get trillions of coins. I remember YouTubers were demanding coins from their fans and trying to get to everyone was trying to race to a trillion, and it was really bad. It was really bad. And then dupers, just like I said, dupers went crazy about this time. This is when the game was, I was actually thinking about quitting the game around this time. No, a lot of you didn't realize that, but I was really debating on quitting the game just because the economy was ruined. And you probably saw a lot of my dupe complaint videos is because the game was ruined. Like, it was just not fun. Anytime they would add a new rare item, it was pointless to grind for it. There was no reason to grind for that item. So I was just like, new rare item, new trophy, it's gonna get duped tomorrow. So it wasn't really exciting to do anything anymore or grind the game anymore. So I kind of started, I think I started my hardcore series around this time, or pretty close to it. I think it was shortly after that I started my hardcore series, and thankfully the devs were like, no, we really need to solve this. And I was encouraged that the devs really cared about the situation because I just felt like it was out of control and I didn't know what to do. I honestly didn't know what to do. And during this time, they also did an update on the 20th of November, which gave us the PvP island, and it gave us that PvP alpha trophy, which also got duped, unfortunately, heavily at the time. And then they added the cactus crop, the cactus spikes. Because of that, the devs decided to add a 10% vending tax to try to get some of that duped money out of the economy. And so that's when we inherited that really big penalty that everyone hates today. That was because they were trying to fight, way too much coins in the economy. And then they added some new flowers. They added the daffodil. They revamped the quest system a bit. They also made it so we could actually directly input numbers into our vending machines, which was awesome. So you know how we couldn't really put prices on our vending machines before. And then they added the desert chest and they did a bunch of optimization. So it was actually a really great update. It was very meaty. And we had that PvP island alpha. So we still don't have PvP in the game, but they did give us the temporary alpha island and they brought it back again a little bit later. So it was actually a pretty cool little experiment. I'm hoping we get PvP at some point in the game. And then came December 11th, and that is when we got this really cool update for electricity, and it kind of gave me some hope. I was like, maybe something new to play in the game, but I was, still on my hardcore series, so it was really hard because I was on my hardcore series and I had to like jump between my alt and stuff. But with the electricity update, we got the electrical workbench, we got the wire tool, we got coal generators, we got solar panels, we got all these really cool electrical items, including the split conveyor and the firework launcher and stuff. And I made some really fun videos during that time. And then on the 18th, they came out with the Christmas update, which was amazing. They completely revamped the hub. It was all full of ice and snow, and they brought us a shovel. They had all these like really cool snowmen. They had all these like limited items, so you had to actually like get a bunch of tickets. So you had to do a bunch of daily quests to actually get like enough tickets to be able to get, certain limited items. And had I known the white snowman would be so rare today, I would have grinded that thing like crazy on all my accounts. I would have grinded all my accounts for that thing. But that is like the coolest item. But we had like the wreath, we had the snowman, we had like the Christmas shovel. No one really cares about the Christmas shovel now, but it was a really, really fun event. And then on the 4th of January, we got another big update, and that was 35 new furniture items. We had PvP Island was back for a little bit, and then came January 22nd, which was kind of the D-Day for everyone. Everyone got wiped. It was actually a partial wipe. A lot of people say they got fully wiped, but the economy wipe was actually a partial wipe. Unless it was like alts that were just used by hackers or something, or dupers. Pretty much it was just a partial. So I actually kept a lot of my inventory. I kept some coins. A lot of vending machines still had a ton of coins as well. So it wasn't really like a full reset. A lot of people said, oh, it was a full reset. No, it wasn't a full, it was a partial wipe. And that is also when we got this new level system that I absolutely love. I love this system. It is fantastic. I can't imagine playing the game without it these days. I think it's great. It really changed the economy. It changed progression. It makes it harder for me to do noob to pro videos. That's for sure. It's a lot harder. It takes me hours and hours now. So the game feels way more balanced now than it used to. And then they also added like sheep. It was just a huge update. They added sheep. They added animal breeding. They added like a bunch of stuff. Too much to list in this video. They also removed island keys. So they used combat level skills for everything. It was just a huge update. And then on the 29th, they added some new furniture items. And they also added the rare golden furniture that we can get from the block merchant. I actually think they should do more of those. That was actually a really cool update. Then on February 5th, they actually added pigs. It was a pig update. And then they added like name tags. They added like this new cloud system here. You can see the clouds moving around. And then they added these craftable portals that we have now, which was great. I'm still really stoked about this update. It was really cool. I love the new portal system. Even though it's been out for a few months, it's just a really great update. I thought it was cool to have those. We had something to grind for. It was really cool. And then on February 12th, we got diamonds. We got the diamond update. I was so stoked about the diamond updates. And so we got the diamond mines. We got, the new cow skin. We had the lunar cow skin. We had the new enchanted diamonds. We got the diamond, all the diamond tools and the diamond weapons. We got the diamond portal. It was just such a great update. And then on the 19th, they actually added animal mounts. I was having so much fun with this. So on the 19th of February, we got animal mounts, and it was so great. Everyone was stoked about these, but they also added the birthday sheep skin. It was a pretty simple update, but it was fun. At some point, they did say that they're actually going to be making it so that animals and mounting animals will actually give you some cool attributes. I'm still waiting for my dragons. I'm still waiting for dragons. And then on the 26th of February, they added chickens. They also added the fishing festival, and then we had eggs and some other stuff that came with this update. It was a pretty fun update. The chickens are still awesome, especially that you can actually make your chickens dance with playing a jukebox nearby. It was great. The fishing festival was actually super memorable too. We got the fishing trophy here. We got all kinds of like really cool items from that one. So this is the best item that came out of that. Everyone wants this thing. It is not cheap. So I actually got that. I grinded. I remember spending hours and hours on this fishing event. It was so much fun. And then on March 13th, they added the Slime King boss, which was, know, kind of the first step to new bosses. They added this whole new season system that we get like from these flowers and stuff, where we get like Cletus on our island and stuff, which also came with like the radishes and pumpkins came back. And then on the 19th of March, we just got the Godzilla versus Kong event, which I don't really have to say much about that, but it was a fantastic event. It was way better than the Witch event. I kind of miss it. To be honest, I kind of miss Kong. I miss Godzilla. It was such a cool event. And that is when we got the Kong axe, we got the trophy, we got the staff, and we got the Godzilla trophy, and as well as palm trees and coconuts. That was a really great event. And then the most recent update that we got on the 4th was the Wizard boss. And we got the Wizard Island revamp. We got all this huge revamp in the game. They added so much to it. They revamped Buffalo Core. They added slate, marble. They added all kinds of stuff. They added the auto tree cutter, basically the lumber mill. They added roses. They added watermelons. They added frogs. They added like steam generators. They added so much in here. This is such a great update. Huge shout out to the devs for making such great updates. A year later, you know, we're about coming up on a year here. So congrats to the devs for 1 year anniversary. The other thing they didn't even mention is the game is now at 990 million visits. They are so close to getting 1 billion visits here. So you can see it says 990 million. They only need 10 more million to go. And the other day they were at like 980 million. So I'm guessing they're going to be here probably by next week. My guess is they're going to hit 1 billion visits by next week. So huge shout out to SnickTrix, Spleenhook, Brian, Brooke, and all the other devs, AsenDev, CandleZoo, and all the other devs that I didn't mention, and contributors, including the mod team, all staff. Congrats on an amazing job with this game. Big round of applause for the entire team. Please go on the Islands Discord and just say thank you for an awesome game. Don't rate them, you know, just don't spam it, but just say awesome job. Like give them a high five. You know, go on Twitter, high five them, retweet the game, tell your friends about the game, give them the credit they deserve for such an awesome game. I really love this game. So the next question is what lies ahead for year 2 for Islands, and I've sent them some ideas and they've also sent me some of theirs. So I'm really excited for year 2. They have a lot in store for everyone and I'm super excited what they bring. I'm absolutely stoked. So I will not be quitting this game anytime soon. Don't worry. I do not plan on quitting anytime soon. A lot of people are like, please don't stop making Islands videos. Don't worry. If I'm making other videos at times, it's because I'm waiting for the update. That's all. That is 100% why. If I want to make non-Islands videos, don't worry. I've got my pay to win channel. You can check out my pay to win channel, by the way. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit that like button. And again, happy 1 year anniversary to the devs. Until tomorrow, peace.